Hello everyone, and welcome to this second video discussion as part of the Tech Partner Programme in 2024. My name is Andrew Knight and I work within the Thought Leadership and Analytics part of our RICS, looking at the impact of data and tech right across the built and natural environment. And it's great to catch up with Ivo again from the Proptech Connection. So Ivo, welcome. And for those of our viewers who haven't perhaps seen any of our previous videos, do give us a brief backstory for you and what the Proptech Connection does.
Hey Andrew, thank you so much for having me on again, and very good seeing you again. So quick introduction for the viewers that are not aware of us. So my name is Ivo van Broekelen, a managing partner here at the Proptech Connection, and we're a strategic independent global boutique PropTech advisory that advises both investors as well as real estate companies and construction companies on their digital strategy. And we do that through our digital platforms and our very data-centric approach.
Indeed. Well, Ivo, the reason we wanted to catch up at this particular point was I know you've been doing a lot of work in the Middle East, and indeed, when we publish this video, there'll be a link to your full report on that. But I wonder if you could just give me a quick summary of really what you've been doing out there and what this report kind of covers.
Super, Andrew. Yeah, so our team just returned from an extensive business trip across the Middle East. So we went through the Emirates, we went to Qatar, but spent most time in Saudi Arabia. We were keynoting an institutional real estate event, and actually in 2 weeks we will be going back to Saudi. There is a large event taking place. We do a keynote, we do some panel discussions invited by a Boston Consulting Group, and it was very interesting. Honestly, we had a private meeting with the Minister of Housing from Saudi Arabia, for example, and just to give you some insights, we indeed wrote a report with our team on the state of the current real estate market in Saudi Arabia, but also the tech landscape and how these two worlds could come together, and the challenges at the same time that we see in market. But what I think is really interesting is the Saudi real estate market is very significant. So you have over $1 trillion of assets in the pipeline, right? And all the challenge in Saudi is not that you need to retrofit, you actually need to build those buildings. So 80% of the buildings in 2050 have not been built yet. Obviously Europe, US, it's the other way around, right? 80% has already been built, so you need to retrofit them. So a lot is actually construction, right? But what you see there, you have a lot of giga projects. NEOM, probably everybody has heard, and they have different projects to line, and you have Oxygen, and you have Qiddiya, and you have Diriyah, and these are $60–90 billion projects. NEOM is 600 billion. So scale of projects are massive, right? But then you have a large mid-market, right? So developers, construction companies that are sitting between, let's say, 500 million and $5 billion in RAFs, which is small for Saudi standards, but still there's many of those. And what we see when we met a lot of the partners, also what we heard from the Ministry of Housing, the Minister of Housing, and other stakeholders there in the market, is that there's a very strong desire for tech, right? So one of the things that they want is they want to build quicker, right? Because obviously they have Vision 2030 and they have all these massive projects. So speed to execution is very important, right? So looking into 3D printing, looking into modular, and then at the same time they have a local tech landscape that's very small compared to other established markets. So one of the key findings in our report was that there's 38 PropTechs there, and what you see there is that, for example, by the government, it was stipulated that they want 70% home ownership by 2030. As such, you see a lot of marketplaces coming in trying to facilitate those transactions, right? So in the PropTech space. So what it means is that you have a very nascent tech ecosystem, and given the scale of these giga projects, there's a huge gap between supply and demand, right? And one of the things that we say is, hey, you should look into foreign business, bring them in to actually facilitate that. At the same time, when you speak to sovereign and large local investors, they actually want to deploy locally. So they want to put their capital to work, and preferably some of those local startups. So there's a big opportunity, and for us, we travel regularly to Saudi Arabia and the wider Middle Eastern market to clients and other obligations that we have there, and obviously we also support a number of companies going into those markets. But what we see is there's an opportunity for knowledge transfer. There's an opportunity for businesses to enter those markets. And also it's actually it's Saudi people are very nice people. The very average age is 29 years old. Most of them have studied overseas, so fluent in English, very hospitable, very warm, very generous. So always interesting to be there and meet some of those folks. So yeah, in a nutshell, there's much more to it, but yeah, maybe that gives you a bit of feel in terms of, you know, some of the things that we've discussing, what we're seeing and what we're hearing in the market. And maybe lastly, we also hear that it's very hard to find high quality contractors, for example, and you know, there's a lot of labor importation, shall we say, so it's not necessarily Saudis, but from other countries out of Asia, and not necessarily very tax savvy. So there's also, you know, that gap between, you know, even if you want to use tech, getting your employees using it is also another challenge. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a quick overview of some of the things that we see in here.
It does. That's great. No, and obviously myself and my viewers will obviously look forward to reading the report and seeing it in more detail. But as you say, I suppose the ultimate conclusion, huge opportunity to build good, sustainable real estate from scratch as well, given that issue, as you say, of the fact that most of what they want to build is not built yet. So
yeah, absolutely, and love to look at companies wanting to enter the market. We think for the right opportunity, we can definitely open doors there as well.
Indeed. Well, great to catch up. Look forward to catching up later in the year. But for today, Ivo, thanks very much.
Andrew, Happy New Year and thanks again for having me.
And you. Bye-bye now.